Somebody carved a cave into solid granite over 2,000 years ago and polished the inside so smooth it works like a mirror. Not rough, not decorative, mirror. Smooth. And when researchers scanned it with modern lasers, the geometry lined up to within a couple millimeters. Across an entire room, carved by hand. The official story says this was a rain shelter. A rain shelter. I'm Mr. Koo, and today we're going into the Barabar Caves, the oldest rock-cut caves in India, and the very simple question nobody can actually answer. Why does a shelter need to be this precise? Let's start with what we actually know, because there's real history here, not just mystery. The Barabar Caves sit in the Janabad district of Bihar, in northeastern India. 7 chambers, split across 2 nearby hills, Barabar and Nagarjuni. They're dated to the Mauryan period, around the 3rd century BC. That's the era of Emperor Ashoka, the guy who fought one brutal war, felt sick about it, converted to Buddhism, and spent the rest of his life carving peaceful messages into rock all over India. Inscriptions inside the caves mention Ashoka. Some mention his grandson. They say the caves were gifted to a group of wandering monks called the Ajivikas. So that's the label on the box. Ancient. Mauryan. Gifted by a Buddhist emperor to some monks. Case closed, right? Here's the thing about that label. It tells you who gave the caves away. It says nothing about who actually built them. Quick bit of context before we go further, because this matters. India has thousands of rock-cut caves. Thousands. Most of them tell you exactly how they were made. You can see the chisel marks, the rough patches, the places where the carver clearly struggled and kept going anyway. Barabar isn't one of those caves. And once you understand why, the whole story gets a lot stranger. Picture every other rock-cut cave you've seen from ancient India. Ellora, Ajanta. Massive carved pillars, painted ceilings, sculpted gods covering every wall. Barabar has none of that. The inside is almost completely bare. No carvings, no decoration. Just stone, shaped into a room. And for a long time, that's all anyone said about it. Old, simple, filed away. Then a few years ago, independent researchers pointed 3D laser scanners at the walls. Thousands of data points per second, mapping the surface down to fractions of a millimeter. And the results didn't simplify anything. They made it weirder. The walls curve in a smooth, consistent arc. The 2 halves of the room mirror each other within 2 to 3 millimeters, across the entire chamber. Not a small patch, the whole room. 2 to 3 millimeters, by hand, in granite, 2,000 years ago. For comparison, granite is one of the hardest natural stones on Earth. It doesn't cut clean, it chips, it resists. When modern stonemasons look at this work, they don't say, "Nice job for the time period." They say it's extreme, full stop. Extreme by today's standards. Let's put that in real terms. If you handed a professional stonemason today a granite block and asked for a mirror-polished surface flat to 2 millimeters across a room-size span, they'd reach for diamond-tipped grinding wheels, laser levels, and power tools that didn't exist until the 20th century. And even then, it's considered demanding work. Not give a monk somewhere dry to sit work. Precision engineering work. So somebody in 300 BC either had tools we have zero archaeological record of, or found another way to do something that, by every measure we have, shouldn't have been possible yet. Now here's a distinction most people miss, and it actually matters a lot. Smooth and flat are 2 different things. You can polish a surface until it feels silky, smooth, but it can still be gently curved or uneven if you check it with a straight edge. Or you can have a surface that's mathematically flat, but rough to the touch. Getting both at once, across a large area, in hard stone? That's brutally difficult. Barabar has both. The walls are polished to a near mirror shine, not coated, not treated, just the granite itself, worked until it reflects light.
And that finish holds up even around curves, even at the tricky spots where the wall meets the ceiling. This is the part where I have to be honest with you. That combination, mirror polish plus true geometric flatness, in granite, without modern tools? Nobody has fully explained how. Here's what makes this genuinely strange instead of just impressive. Every craft tradition leaves fingerprints of its own growth. You can watch Greek temples get more refined over centuries. You can watch Roman concrete improve generation by generation. The rough attempts, the slightly crooked columns, the mistakes that came before mastery. That's just how skill works. Nobody starts at the top. But at Barabar, that ladder is missing. There's no earlier, cruder version nearby. No half-finished practice cave. No obvious sequence of okay, that one's better than the last one. When stonemasons look at the finished chamber, the honest reaction isn't, "Wow, great start." It's, "This doesn't look like a beginning. It looks like an ending. Like a tradition that was already fully mastered, and we simply can't find where that mastery came from." That's not proof of anything wild. But it is a genuine, unresolved gap. And good history usually doesn't have unexplained gaps like this. And here's a detail that makes this less of a one-off weird story, and more of a pattern worth paying attention to. Barabar isn't alone. Ancient Egypt has granite surfaces cut with a precision that doesn't match their known tools either. Peru has stone walls fitted so tightly you can't slide a blade between the blocks. Different continents, different centuries, different cultures with no contact with each other. And in every single case, the same pattern shows up, incredible precision, with no visible chain of practice leading up to it. Maybe that's a coincidence 3 times over. Or maybe we're bad at recognizing when ancient people solved a hard problem in a way we haven't figured out yet.
Let's go back to those inscriptions, because this is where it gets genuinely murky. Not fake mysterious, actually murky. The inscriptions are real, nobody disputes that. They record Ashoka, and later his grandson, the Sharata, donating the caves to the Ajivikas monks. But donating something isn't the same as building it. Think about it this way. If a government today gifts an old building to a museum, that plaque doesn't mean the government constructed it. It just means they own it now, and they're handing it over. Some researchers have pointed out that a few of these inscriptions look like they were added onto surfaces that already existed, not carved as part of the original construction. Some names even appear to have been altered later, which raises an uncomfortable possibility. The inscriptions might be younger than the caves themselves. If that's true, the Mauryan date doesn't tell us who carved Barabar. It just tells us who was using it, centuries, maybe longer, after it was already there. And this is the part that really gets me. Because even if we ignore the precision completely, the official explanation still doesn't add up on its own terms. The Ajivikas were ascetic monks, extreme simplicity, no comfort, no luxury on purpose. That was the whole point of the lifestyle. And we're told these caves were built for them, as rain shelters. A rain shelter does not need to be a mirror. A basic overhang keeps you dry. A rough cave keeps you dry. Nobody needs millimeter symmetry to avoid getting wet. The stated purpose and the actual object just don't match. The polish serves no practical function. The symmetry serves no practical function. So either the ascetic monks who rejected luxury got the single most over-engineered rain shelter in human history, or the rain shelter explanation was never really the reason this place was built. It was just the reason it got used, generations after the fact. So if it wasn't built as a shelter, what else could it have been? Some researchers point to the acoustic properties we're about to get into, and wonder if it was built for sound, chanting, meditation, something ceremonial. Others think it might have started as something else entirely, centuries before Ashoka's monks ever set foot inside, and the rain shelter label just stuck because nobody had a better one. We genuinely don't know. But "we don't know" is a very different statement than "it was definitely just a shelter." One more thing, and then I'll let you go. These chambers don't sound like normal rooms. Certain frequencies echo strangely. Words spoken at a distance blur together, almost hovering. That might just be physics. Smooth, curved surfaces bounce sound differently than rough ones do. But here's what's interesting. The exact geometry that creates the visual precision is the same geometry creating the acoustic effect. They're not two separate mysteries. They're the same object, experienced two different ways. And when everything you examine turns out to be connected like that, that's usually a sign something was planned, carefully. So where does that leave us? Not with a lost civilization, not with a neat answer. I'm not going to pretend I have one, because I don't, and honestly, nobody does yet. What we have is a room that's more precise than its stated purpose requires, built with no visible learning curve behind it, labeled by an inscription that might post-date the room itself. Each piece alone, you can explain it away. All of them together? That's harder. Barabar doesn't prove anyone got it wrong. It just proves we haven't actually finished explaining it. I'm Mr. Ku. If this one stuck with you, there's a lot more like it. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.